It is patch day. And I'm really excited to jump into games, but I do want to do the patch review. I really wish they would have released the patch notes yesterday. And then patch today, you know? Like, wouldn't that make sense? Heroes now have 30 starting health, except for Patchwork. Huge patch note. Now, you guys are going to be like, 30 health? I'm just going to make games faster. Well, more than that. But yeah, buddies are going to break a lot of things. They were pretty busted before. They changed a lot of pieces, and Blizzard, you know, kind of has the track record of when there's a big patch, something breaks in the process. A lot of moving parts, bam, broken. Something is going to break the game, another thing's going to break the game. There's going to be too many strong lines, they're going to have to get nerfed. We'll have hot fixes coming quickly. Over, what's your opinion on the last sentence of the patch? I think it could have used a little bit more. You know, make it at least a word or two longer, add an exclamation point. Would have added a flare to the end, you know. It just kind of ended on a dud, just a little period there, like, you know how it is. But buddies are back. We got heroes starting at 30 health now, instead of 40, but the armor ranges are significantly larger. A lot of heroes, that's going to mean you just fundamentally do not have a change in your hero. That you could have 40 health and no armor before, and now you have 30 health and 10 armor, and it's the same health pool. It just opens up a wider breadth of power, or armor, or health, whatever you want to call it, effective health, to balance heroes. So not every hero is going to have minimum 40 health now. There are a couple, if you look later in the patch notes, with the actual armor tiers, or armor values. They got rid of the whole tier system completely. Everyone has their own independent armor value. And that's manually going to be modified, and it's not going to be like, oh, 3 to 6, which varies game to game. It's just going to be like Gallywix has 10 armor, or whatever it might be. Every game, Gallywix is going to have the same starting health pool. It gives a little bit of a knob to like micro change heroes, a little bit here and there. I don't think armor is a very effective tool to balance this game, but little bits, little tweaks, they're good for the health of the game. Nothing crazy to note here, just the fact that you're going to see 30 health and armor in every game now. Starting cost for upgrading from 4 to 5 is temporarily increased from 9 to 11. We saw this one before. It doesn't actually say temporary here, but you gotta make the assumption that once buddies go, it'll probably come back down to 9. There are a lot of things in this game that kind of break with the buddy system, and artificially limiting the turn to which you can go to 5, or like, you know, making it harder to do so, is fine. It used to be that you couldn't power level to 5 with heroes like Barov. Barov is completely busted with his buddy. Remember how good Barov's buddy is. The fact that you just get extra gold on gold on gold on gold. Since the buddy patch, since that time period, they have made it so you can go above 10 gold. It used to be that change, okay, no air quotes needed. It was a change. But the change made it so that it wasn't possible to go from 4 to 5 the turn that you level to 4. No longer the case, right? We can go over 10 gold. So that means that if you stockpiled 20 plus gold, you could go from 3 to 5 in one turn. And you could still triple into a 6. The starting cost to upgrade the Tavern tier going from 4 to 5 is a 2 gold change. It's all it is. It's just a 2 gold change. It used to be the artificial threshold that you had to wait a turn to go to 5. Now we can bypass that because we can go above 10 gold. Some buddies have had their minion types adjusted. There's also a bunch of changes to buddies. Hot single viewers in your area. Yeah, all the above. Alright, moving on. The new buddy system is completely different in the way that you earn new buddies. We talked about this one before, so I'll briefly gloss over the stuff that we've talked about prior. But the buddies are earned now through a clickable button on your hero. That gold will discount turn after turn after turn, going down until it's a point where you feel like it is valuable enough to push the button for that cost to take your buddy. Basically, depending on the Tavern tier of the buddy, they have a starting cost for their first round, and then their second round, which gives you 2 more copies of the buddy. If you have the original version of the buddy on the board, then you'll get a golden buddy, because it'll triple. And, of course, discover a minion from the tripled unit. Basically, lower Tavern tier buddies, you're going to earn quicker in the game, because their starting cost starts at a lower value. Every fight, you either discount that cost by 3 or 2. 3 if you win or tie a round. 2 if you lose the round. So like early tempo, early winning of rounds is going to make it so you effectively are gaining economy at later portions of the game if you're going to be pushing a hero power button a bunch of times, etc., etc. Like we'll see how this one pans out. It's definitely going to slow down the game a little bit because you are not passively earning the buddy. It's going to cost you some amount of gold, but it does mean that you can cheese out the buddy a little bit quicker, especially if you get some really good gold gain for that golden buddy in the mid game. Why is there a cost for tier 6 buddies when there aren't any? They're probably because they're going to balance. Who knows if they don't introduce any 6 stars initially, but some of the 5s could get nerfed and go to 6s? Don't really know. All right. New hero added, ETC. Hero power, sign a new artist, 4 gold, which is just discover a buddy. Oh, good thing they made it only unlock at Tavern 2. That fixes this. Holy shit, who designed this and thought this was okay? 4 gold for design a buddy? It's friend of a friend. Stop it. Sure, it doesn't work with brand. You don't get friend. This buddy's busted. As was noted before, the new Elise buddy breaks this hero. New Elise buddy kind of breaks every hero, but this hero can discover the Elise buddy. If you get offered Elise, just pick it, chat. Just realize if you click this button and you see Elise's buddy, just take it. Is that every turn? Yeah, I mean, it doesn't say once per game. You can push the button as much as you want. 4 gold, discover a buddy. Now, some buddies are complete trash. Most of the ones that are really bad are addressed in this dev comment. It's like, oh, this doesn't exist. It obeys the friend of the friend rules. So you're not going to get like Panda's buddy, and Panda's buddy has no relevance for your hero, for example. Who the fuck designed this? I will say the same thing I said in Bauer's chat where I was hanging out before the stream. And that is, new is fun, broken is fun. Blizzard has a track record of introducing things that break the game and then very quickly nerfing them a couple days later. It's something to talk about. It's something interesting to do. You can abuse it while it's here. I don't know who decided this was balanced. This is absolutely an imbalanced hero being added to the game. It doesn't take anybody or any real stretch of imagination to identify this is going to be a problem here. Now, all that being said, remember friend of a friend? Yeah? You do? Probably. You know why you remember friend of a friend? Because it was busted, and it was something noteworthy in the history of Battlegrounds. You're going to get... Remember ETC when it was introduced as a statement just like, remember friend of a friend? It's going to be the same thing. Remember pre-nerf rag? Remember Eudora in its original form? That kind of stuff? Is this fine as once per game? No, it'd just be garbage. Discover a random buddy that's not guaranteed to work with you for 4 gold for yourself? Is that your entire hero power? I remember friend of a friend. The rest eludes me. You remember Elistra? Like, we can remember a lot of times where things were broken. We've had a bunch of things in this game. Remember Elise with the original hero power? Or Toki? Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of things that are like... They were introduced. They were busted. Remember Putricide in its original form? You remember Siren? I'm just gonna move on. Nah, I remember. Yeah, exactly. Like, introducing broken things and nerfing them quickly, there's a huge trend in Blizzard games. It's not just Hearthstone of doing that because it creates excitement. It creates something that people are striving to do because they want to play the new thing and see how broken it is. And then a couple days later, they'll bring it back down within range. This could easily be a lot more balanced at 5 gold. Or 6 gold. Or make it so it unlocks at Tavern 3. There's a lot of ways to tweak this. Is it really good? Yeah. Is it game-breakingly good right now? Yeah. We'll see. We'll see how well it works. A couple tweaks that could be made with not being able to discover certain buddies as well that could make it a lot more manageable. We shall see. You remember Boat? I remember Boat. It floated my boat. The buddy for the new hero. Tavern 5. Make a buddy golden. Oh boy. Now, some of the best buddies in the game are battle cry effects. Making it golden doesn't allow you to get the golden version of that buddy. So keep that in mind. Making a buddy golden with a lot of them not having major effects. Once they're on the board, especially that late in the game, I don't think this is a major problem with the hero. It is the hero power is effectively discover a minion that's better than low tavern tier minions and has a huge potential upside if you hit the good ones. Yeah, this is a problem. This not so much. fun, decent. It's also a thing like Ticketus or like Cyrenathrius, that after we get out of buddy meta, there's still going to be a way to access buddies in the game, assuming they do not remove this hero. And they haven't removed the other ones. Silas kept the tickets. Denathrius kept quests. Ticketus kept Dark Moon prizes. Okay, I shouldn't say Silas. I said tickets because I thought of tickets. And so on and so forth. We will now have ETC keeping the buddy system around. So periodically you can still see buddies. Tickets, he says, and goes immediately to Silas as the wrong example. Alright, hero power update. Shudderwalk, completely new hero power. New hero power is 0 gold trigger friendly minions battle cry. They still realize that Alley Cat is a problem card and you can't have it in the game with Shudderwalk. Good. Honestly, I don't think that Alley Cat alone would break Shudderwalk. They might be able to remove this restriction. Yeah, you're like, oh, it's a free triple if you find an Alley Cat. Okay. Okay. But I don't think this hero power is busted level strength anyway. And if you find Alley Cat, cool. You can take a triple in the middle of the game. Maybe 2 if you're capable of power leveling. Let's go new patch, new meta. Hell yeah, dude. It'll be fast or slow. I think it'll be slightly slower than the meta we're playing right now. Because this meta is like super duper fast. And you got to push the button for your buddy now. But not noticeably different. Maybe half a turn longer on average. Just a guess. Wag Toggle. With Wax Warband as the hero power, or Wax Toggle, as I said the first time. New hero power is never choose this hero ever, 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 because this hero is complete and utter garbage. Alright, moving on. Now, I mean, maybe this hero gets a little bit of play once they remove buddies, because they just gutted her buddy and the hero power at the same time. New hero power, passive, start of combat, 3 friendly minions get stats equal to their tavern tier. How is this a thing when Rakanishu costs gold? Because it's start of combat. That means you don't get to keep any of the stats. It's an early game hero. I mean, it's just like bad Kael'thas. Terracosa value? Yeah, I mean, sure. If your board's full of Terracosas, then maybe they get buffed periodically to keep a 3/3 buff. Oh boy! Yeah, I mean, if it was permanent stats, then like Kael'thas and Rakanishu are in shambles over there. No, it's not permanent stats. It's temporary stats added to your board. In the middle of the game, it may be like a 15/15 passive added to your board. If a game gets absurdly tempo-oriented, then Wag Toggle may be a playable hero. Like kind of like the meta we just got out of yesterday. Where it's like, oh yeah, you win the first 6-7 turns of the game. That's good enough to justify playing the hero. It ain't gonna be the case. It ain't gonna be the case at all during buddy meta, because we're gonna go to the buddy here in a second. Wag Toggle's buddy is also kind of gutted. Yo, BMC! Dude, thank you so much for the Prime sub. Appreciate the love, dude. Yeah, oh shit, 4/4 buff on Terracosa. Oh, true. Terracosa did go to Tavern 4, by the way. We haven't gotten to that patch note yet. You're right. Terracosa's on Tavern 4, so we get a 4/4 buff. Good call, good call, good call. I do not have an extensive review on all of the new buddies, but we will very briefly go through them here for the YouTube people. Ashara's buddy. Very strong buddy from Ashara. Basically, tier 3, 2 for health, or 2 attack, 4 health. Whenever you cast a spellcraft spell on a minion, you also cast it on that. Basically is a duplicator. Another way of getting additional spellcraft cast spell, or spellcraft casts. Cast? However you want to say that. This should work with Athissa. Kind of like very similar to Siren for a while there in the middle of the game. Good with Critter Wrangler. Yeah, like it's a good buddy. You get it at a reasonable time because it's a 3-star buddy. It's going to give you mid-game tempo, even if you're not taking that permanent value on Critter Wrangler or Athissa, whatever it might be. It's also a buddy that's tribal. It plays into the line that you're already playing. It potentially allows you to get your quest completed the turn after you get it, because you can get like one big attack buff or whatever, but I don't think I'd really rely on using the gold to get the buddy first and then get the hero power after. And then this minion can stay on the board the entire game because it's going to be one of the better kind of minions to have on the board late game with the typical Naga setup. So like, it has the early game potential, it's cheap enough to be played, and on top of that, it has late game potential. So like, overall pretty decent. Considering Ashara is a pretty bad hero, having a good buddy is a good way to somewhat balance. Regardless, that was my shortened version of reviewing a reviewing a hero. Azumat's buddy. Avenge 2, upgrade Tentacular. Tentacular is your hero power, so basically you're adding a permanent stat line of +1/1 to that spawned taunt beast minion that you do from your hero power every 2 minions that die on your board. Once again, 3-star buddy, good stat line 4/4. Tribal as a beast is a reasonable thing to have on the board. It's entirely a tempo setup here, right? You get passive stats in the middle of the game, obviously still super susceptible to Leroy Mantid stuff. If games get fast, Azumat becomes a playable hero because it is a lot of tempo. This is a very easy mid-game power spiking type of unit that scales gradually over the course of the game. But it's always going to be a medium-sized taunt at the end of the game, right? Does a taunt need to be alive to get the buff? I mean, the Tentacular is the hero power. The Tentacular upgrades by 1/1 each time you sell a minion or have the Avenge. So it's upgrading the hero power. At least that's the assumption. YouTube is just getting a normal video while Twitch just gets pure chaos. Yeah, I mean, you guys don't get a... YouTube people don't see chat as everybody's freaking out about things. I got you guys. Lady Vosh, I almost said busted as the first word before even getting to the buddy. That's where my mind is. This shit's busted. Coilfang Elite, Tavern 2, first of all, what? Why Tavern 2 for this buddy? 3/4 health, okay, overstated stat line for a 2-star buddy. After a spellcraft minion appears in Bob's Tavern, get a copy of its spell. Remember, with Lady Vosh, first spellcraft spell is permanent. You got a Naga for free. Just the sheer fact that you got a Naga, oh, not free, but like super cheap because it's a 2-star buddy. A Naga in the early portion of the game increases the effectiveness of Shoal Commander buff, which you almost always play in the middle turns because you can guarantee it when you're on Tavern 3. Rolling boards now gives you extra spellcraft procs, so like late game Naga boards are going to be really good with this. You're going to get random fucking Divine Shields from Glow Scale. You're going to get random... It's just going to be a whole deal. It's just going to be a lot, you know? Not to mention the fact that this thing is like super duper strong as a standalone minion. And it's super low Tavern tier. It's just all of the above. We talked about this a lot back in old buddy meta, that any buddy that was a 2-star buddy was a playable buddy. Any hero that had a 2-star buddy is a playable hero, maybe is a better way to word that. Because you get it so quickly in the game that you will triple it so quickly in the mid game, which will discover into a card of a higher Tavern tier than where you are, right? Which always gives you that potential to play the lobby. You may not have a buddy that is like, oh my god, this is game-changingly good, but if you get it at an aggressive time, then you can use the triple to play to something else. All right, Togwaggle's buddy. Might as well read Don't Play Togwaggle this patch, or at least that's my initial take on it. 4-star, slow buddy, Elemental Dragon, kind of a cool tribal mix. Battlecry Refresh Bob's Tavern with the highest tier minion from each opponent's warband. So you're thinking of the combo immediately, right? Play this buddy, then use your hero power. The problem is this is a lot of gold. You get to steal a bunch of really good minions from people's boards. It's going to be all over the place unless everybody's playing like the same kind of tribes. You're going to see high rolls on Togwaggle that are nasty. But the average value that you're getting off of a buddy like this, you're going to have to wait a really long time to get this thing to be playable. Remember, 4-star buddy. 4-star buddy is going to start at 17 gold, discounting by 2 or 3 per turn. Let's assume that it is mostly 2s per turn because you're going to try to level pretty aggressively being Togwaggle, right? You're not going to stay low Tavern tier. You're going to have to be able to sacrifice the early game and just take your buddy late in the game. If we assume that's mostly 2-star discounts, and we're going to play this thing around like, I don't know, 5 gold, maybe? How many turns are we waiting to get our buddy? We're talking like turn 8? Turn 9? For the first round of the buddy? Then sure, you can steal a board full of shit that could be very useful to you. I went way too far. Scrolling! You can steal a board full of shit that's really good, but you're going to have to use your hero power too, and your hero power is going to cost you like 7 or 8 gold that turn as well. It's just going to get really, really, really expensive. And when you just roll a board full of a bunch of random minions, and you need to play a bunch of that kind of shit, it's going to be very, very hit or miss. Sometimes you'll steal people's buddies, and it'll be nutty. Sometimes you'll get people that triple into 5s or 6s around that time, and you'll steal those cards. Other times you're going to get a bunch of garbage, and you've used everything in your power already, and you're just dead. We shall see. Yeah, the tribal combination for it's kind of interesting. Elemental Dragon is definitely an interesting combination. Now, it is an elemental that you can't buy from the shop, so like a lot of the elemental scaling value is just not there. Murloc Holmes, Watfin, Tavern 3, Beast, 2/6. Stat line, after you correctly guess with Detective for Hire, gain a plain copy of the minion. This is going to break me, by the way. I already have this, like, ping every time I play Murloc Holmes, where I'm sitting there after I get the gamble right, and I'm like, why did I get a coin instead of the minion? Because for some reason, back of my mind, I have the expectation that I get it right, I should get the thing I clicked on. Now we're going to get the thing we clicked on, and this is going to go away in 2 months, and I'm going to be heartbroken as I constantly think the wrong thing subconsciously as we steal things with, when we get our gambles right on Murloc Holmes. This is going to break me mentally. I can see it already. Yo, Rampage, thank you so much for the 16 months. Yeah, this is really good. It's really good to the extent that, like, oh, you get a lot of value. You get to steal some minions. Oh, it's mega cute as well. Yeah, true. He kind of cute, though. He looks like a good dude to spend some time with. Coin plus card for correct guess and 0 mana, that's a lot. True. True. But there are a lot of cards that you're going to be gambling to get that are not immediately relevant to you. This is going to be late in the game. 3-star buddy, you're going to get this thing like turn 5 maybe. My initial take on this buddy was that it was really, really strong. The more I look at it, the more balanced it seems. That it's not like you're getting the extra minions on before you fill out your board, right? You can rush this thing down and you can, prage that it stabilizes for you, which is probably going to be the play. Or you're going to get this thing for cheap as a buddy, but it's going to be after you've already filled your board. The extra 1 gold for gambles getting right is decent. Is it enough to bring the hero in line with, like, the other good heroes in buddy meta? To be seen. I think it's like a 7 out of 10 kind of hero. That Murloc Holmes is already a playable hero. I don't think he's going to be busted with this buddy, but I think he's going to be good. Like, mid-tier 2. Not, Cookie, Gale Wing, Gallywix of the previous meta. More like Barov in the previous meta. Who's good, very good even. And most people would agree good. And I mean, Barov was our highest win rate hero. It's probably a bad example. Who is a good example of a hero that was in the middle of tier 2? Bad example, Bofur. I wanted to do the gold analogy with Barov, but gold is really good in this game, But yeah, I think it's, maybe we'll say 8 out of 10. 7 out of 10, 8 out of 10. Like, good. Very good. Strong hero. I don't think busted level. But good. Denathrius. Oh boy, what are we doing with quests? 2-star buddy. All right, first of all, 2-star buddy. Very, 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 very strong. Very strong. Battle Cry, discover a quest, complete it for an 8 gold pouch. Basically, I think this thing's busted. I think this is actually way too much. I know there are a bunch of people out there that have made the comments like, oh, discovering quests doesn't mean you get gold every turn. You're going to play multiple ones of these over the course of the game. I don't think you're going to keep it on the board per se and triple it very often, but maybe you do choose to triple it because, it is a 2-star buddy. You can get it really quickly. The extra gold pouch basically allows you to just trigger the golden one immediately. And then people start bringing up the statements like, what about with Kidnap Sack? Can't you just keep playing this thing over and over and over again? Yes, you can. And a lot of quest completions can be done in about 1 to 2 turns in the mid game once you have a full board. The reason it takes so long to do quest completions at the beginning of the game is because you only have like 3 or 4 or 5 gold to work with. When you get upwards in the range of like, I have 14 gold, or I have 13 gold, or God forbid you completed the quest on the last turn and you have 20 plus gold in that turn, you can just play this thing again with Kidnap Sack, then complete the quest again. Now, I'm not saying you do it every single turn, but the fact that you can do like that kind of broken line in very, very niche scenarios is going to make some runaway conditions for this hero. Overall, though, let's assume we don't have Kidnap Sack. Let's just assume that we're just completing a couple quests. Even if they aren't quests that we do very, very quickly, the middle of the game, you're gaining 24 extra gold. You're getting 2-ish turns ahead of the rest of the lobby off of your buddy. You don't even have to keep this minion on the board for much of the middle of the game. You don't have a bad minion, but you don't get any stats off of it either. It's going to be an interesting one. Imagine this with Peggy. I mean, it's just going to give you a 1/1 buff, but that'd be pretty dope, right? I like a 1/1 buff. It doesn't say add 8 coins to your hand. If that was the case, imagine it with a Slysssa. Doesn't say 8 coins. It says an 8 gold pouch. I assume that it doesn't add 8 coins, because 16 coins wouldn't make much sense with the hand space issues, would it? Now, that being said, we'll find out when we play it. It would be a fair assumption that it just adds 8 gold to your hero once you play the spell. Coin pouch should have coins in it. You think it's going to have 16 coins in it? You think your hand's going to fill to 16 things? I doubt it. It doesn't feel like that would be the mechanic that would work. Yeah, spellcraft coins, exactly. Yeah, that combination would be very strong. Sylvanas' buddy, 5-star 3/6 undead. Battlecry, remove a friendly minion, give its stats to its neighbors. This is sleeper OP, right? This thing's actually legit good. That a lot of people slept on Mutinous, which was literally the top win rate hero in last buddy meta. Forgetting that, like, oh, we have ways of duping stats multiple times. If you can make one medium-sized minion, then dupe it, basically 3 times with 3 copies of this unit. You don't even need to use the golden version if you don't want to. That's gonna be a lot of power. Like a lot of power in the middle of the game. It is 5-star, it is slow. It is a tempo hero. It's not going to be a crowd favorite over here, because you're going to be playing the game for entirely power. But that's a lot of power. And you can do a lot with the fact that you can build like 40-40, 50-50 divine shields in the middle of the game. Imagine it with Chrono. Yeah, it also breaks with Chrono. And there's a lot of reasons why it's absolutely busted. You're going to see boards created with this buddy plus the golden buddy, where you dump all of your stats into like an 80-80, 90-90 Chrono the first time, then dupe it into 2 minions, sell that into a second Chrono before the next one, play another one, dupe it into 2 minions. You now have 2 400 ranges by that point in the game. Yeah. It's really strong with those kind of combos. Wait, Chrono still exists? I mean, it doesn't say anywhere in the patch notes it's gone, so yeah, I think it's still going to be here. With Ball, yeah, with Ball it's good because you can double the stat line from it. With the Golden Ball, you can use it with, Greta. There's just a bunch of ways to abuse this kind of stuff. It's better than Mutinous? I don't agree with that. I don't think it's better than Mutinous. It's a lot slower than Mutinous. And Mutinous's power was that you got online so consistently in the middle of the game that you just blew up people. And then just took almost always the top 3 position. Like, it was so hard to bottom 4 as Mutinous back in old buddy meta. Now, in new buddy meta, you got to pay for the buddy. Mutinous is a lot slower in that way. Maybe it's better than Mutinous now. It's definitely not going to be more impactful than what Mutinous was in the past. All right, Jailer. Yeah, we already went over this one. This one is remarkably disappointing. 3/3/3, Death Rattle, summon 3 tier 1 minions. Okay, cool. So basically, mid-game tempo unit, capable of spawning a lot of random shit. In high Death Rattle lobbies, that's pretty good. The idea is that you spawn a lot of stuff that increments your Jailer hero power. Cool. Unfortunately, like, it doesn't really do a lot for later in the game. It doesn't do a lot in the middle of the game. Anything that is tempo in the mid-game, though, is at least a playable hero. That Jailer's gonna be playable, but I don't think this is either fun nor really that good. The fact that the golden version is 6 minions, good luck with the board space problems. Like, most late game, like, undead boards aren't going to want litter the board with a bunch of bullshit that's going to stop your other stuff from spawning. Like, this isn't even a good card on a typical late game board. I get it. You gotta make it so that, like, it makes better it makes a bunch of minions, and then you use it, makes your hero power better. Yeah. But, like, it plays in the fort. I mean, it plays into Avenge very well. That's the big thing for it. It plays in the Ghoul of the Feast. It plays into mid-game scaling off of your hero power. It's something. Regardless. Enhanso Medico. Tavern 2. All right, cool. 2-star buddies. Make note of that every time we see them. We're going to get these guys quickly, and they're going to be impactful early. 2 attack, 3 health. Pretty shitty stat line. Minions and Bob's Tavern with Taunt, Reborn, Divine Shield, or Wind Fury have 1/1 for each. Boo. Lame. Weak. We can put this thing on the board and we get a couple extra stats on minions that we buy in the mid game. Bland. Boring. Not even that good. It's a little bit of power. Oh boy. All right, moving on. Future Side's Buddy. 4-star undead, 5/2, death rattle, summon a random undead creation. We do know that this obeys the rules of Tavern tier restrictions, so you're not getting like summoner shit from on Tavern 4. Kind of like Genie obeys the rules where you don't like spawn Gars for yourself for free when you're on Tavern 4 or Tavern 5. It's tempo. It's going to be hard to play because it's not going to realistically make your late game boards. Putricide loves to be on 6 as quickly as possible. I wouldn't be surprised to see Putricide play this game and just ignore the hero power till it becomes practically free. That since people are going to slow down the middle of the game to try to get their buddies and do stuff with it, Putricide going to 6 may be a feasible line if you get like, you know, a 3-on-3 line, hero power into gold, still just go straight to 6 kind of line. Play the game vanilla with undead and hope that you don't really need your buddy. Now, all of that being said, if you do try to play into the buddy does give you good mid-game power, and maybe you have to do that because the game's going to be too swingy and too unpredictable for you to power level to 6 and go to low health. Hard to tell. Honestly, I don't see this thing as being super impactful, but Putricide is a playable hero, so okay and okay is combined okay. Nothing to write home about here. Al-Gore-Rhythm, Shadowy Construct, Tier 3 Undead, 3/4, stat line after friendly minions die, give its neighbors +1/1. This was the buddy that I seem to disagree the most with chat about. I think this thing is incredibly strong. I think that this thing right here is enough mid-game power to make Terran a pain in the ass to deal with in the middle of the game. And Terran's hero power still offers you the ability to play late game incredibly well. So it's a stall tactic. The card fits any board, practically. It is somewhere in the range of like 6-8 procs on good undead boards, or 2 or 3 procs on average on mid-game boards. Obviously, it has synergy with Terracosa, but it's not the major appeal to it. It's really just big value in the middle of the game, and you're going to be building towards Leapers boards anyway. You're going to be playing toward a new Barak and undead stuff. You are Terran as a hero. And when you get the late game as Terran, you are, I guess, appropriately named Terrifying. It's not permanent, right? Correct. It's just tempo. It's just going to be stats that you're putting on the board in the middle of the game that you do not permanently keep. Unless it's, like we said, there's a synergy with Terracosa, but like that's not the major appeal for it. This kind of value in the middle of the game stalls things. It's not permanent, still looks silly. I mean, it's just strong. It's just a lot of stats. It's kind of like, you guys remember Arcane Cannon, right? A build-around card. Remember Harbinger back in the day is another really good example of this. Taunt comp meta, Harbinger, Kiori Harbinger, 2/2 whenever a taunt dies. Like, that became the meta at that time. Like, you didn't even play for scaling. You just threw stats on the board and smacked people. Because you get that level of power, you stabilize the mid-game, people die, and you're all the time using your gold to buy whatever the hell you want because you're just using death rattle minions on the board to be strong in the mid-game. Allows you to level a little more aggressively. Do I think it's busted? No. I think it's like an 8 out of 10, 9 out of 10 level hero plus buddy combination. Terran's already incredibly good at leapfroggers, already incredibly good at playing a new Barak lines with undead. And now this gives you stability mid-game. Combo is pretty powerful. All right. Moving on. You remember we said we wouldn't spend long on the old buddies? I can't help myself. I talk about everything. All right. Transition into the next set of the patch notes. Buddy effect updates. So basically a bunch of changes to buddies that exist in the game already. Drekthar. New buddy. Tavern tier 3. Same stat line as before. But the buddy now reads minions in Bob's Tavern have 1 attack for the rest of the game instead of the minions on your board. So the Avenge is going to stack in the tavern instead of your own board. It's kind of interesting because at first glance you think, or at least what I would think, is stats on your board better than stats in tavern. You know, a bird in hand is better than 2 in the bush. Now that being said, getting good scaling off of this buddy was incredibly hard in buddy meta because you're losing minions quickly over the course of the fight. Then the stats being added are only being added to a part of your board. Not to mention you're keeping a neutral minion on the board through the mid-game that has no real future. It's bat fuel. It is bat fuel. There's places where this gets a lot better. It is incredibly good with mechs, right? Why do you have birds in your hand? I don't know, but it's better than being in your bush. Or at least if I understand the analogy correctly. 2 of them in your bush is bad. It gets huge by late game, yeah, but you're keeping a 7-4 neutral on the board. How long can you afford to do so? Now, that being said, any scaling that you can do to the tavern to buff magnetics, or buff minions that could be consumed with Firebat, or minions that are minions that you're going to triple or something in the later portions of the game, especially when we can talk about them both at the same time. Vandars is the same thing, just for health. Avenge 3 for Drekthar, Avenge 2 for health. You pick up and replace some minions, you get a couple stats here and there. They're just not overly impressive units, right? It is hard to keep neutral bad minions on the board in the mid-game. The stats added to the tavern may affect the later portions of the game, but they do nothing for you immediately, right? Ball, yeah, Ball's a good card. Chronormu's a good card that you might replace into the shop and, you know, cycle a bunch of minions into Chronormu. Like, there's a lot of places where it's just good. But it is a hard minion to keep. Now, 4-7 stat line in the middle of the game, pretty damn good. Health and HP is greater than attack. It depends on the board state. Attack, generally speaking, later in the game is more important than health. But when you talk about repeatedly stacking things, especially with cards like Chronormu or cards like Firebat, then health oftentimes becomes better than attack. Like if you're talking mostly mech boards, then you like the attack. If you're talking mostly demon boards, then you're going to talk about liking, you know, health more. It's a give or take here. In the middle of the game, health is typically better than damage. In the later portions of the game, damage is typically better than health. Dies to poison. Yep, that's part of the game, though. There are counters to certain things, but it's not like it's just one minion that's getting big on your board. It's a lot of minions. You got to still be able to play around those kind of mechanics. 103 Deflecto is better than a 300 Deflecto. Yes, correct. Same idea, right? Would you rather have your mech roll with a ton of extra health or a ton of extra attack? Yeah, same idea. Can we see the patch review later on YouTube? Yeah, I'm going to upload this entire segment to YouTube tonight once I get done with the stream. It is not going to be added super early today because I'm going to stream for the, play some games up until the evening. I can't exactly render, then upload. I will kill the stream in the process. Can you say hi to YouTube for me? Cascade Hunter says hi, everybody in chat. People on YouTube, please say hi to Cascade Hunter for me. He's feeling pretty lonely right now. Elise's buddy is now changed. 3-3 stat line Tavern 2. Remember, Tavern 2. Tavern 2 buddies. Very early in the game. Reduce the cost of your hero power by 2. So we've seen that this is permanent, by the way. You know what this breaks? This breaks all other heroes. This breaks practically every other hero. If you can find a way to get Elise's buddy on a different hero, it's nuts. Yeah, Scabs. Yeah, Scabs gets free discovers. Or the new hero. The new hero discovers other heroes' buddies. This is the new hero. Discover a buddy for 4 gold. Then every turn afterwards is to discover a buddy for 2 gold. And if you discover another one, then it's discover a buddy for free for the rest of the game. Like, things that repeatedly cost gold to use, turns out are a lot better when it doesn't cost gold to use. Or you cost less gold to use. For Patchwork, yeah, Patchwork's busted, right? Yeah, now, like, evaluating this for Elise, it means that you can use more gold, right? That this is, assuming that you use your hero power multiple times after this, it is 2 times the number of times that you are going to use your hero power anyway. Gold gained over the course of the game. And then 4 times for the golden one as well. So, like, if you were at 2 gold cost, it's going to reduce it to 0. The next turn it's going to be 1, then 2, then 3. It's 2 gold reduction each time you would do it. It's also a battle cry. Yeah, it's a way of, like, basically resetting your hero power so you can use it practically every turn. Now, all that being said, it's just Elise's hero power. It's great discovering minions of your tavern tier. But that alone isn't busted. I think it's strong. I think Elise is a top tier hero. Don't get me wrong. Elise is already a top 10 hero prior to buddy meta. And now you have a buddy that's relevant, good hero A great hero, good buddy is going to be a top tier combination. I don't really want to pay to get it. Yeah, I want to use my hero power, but I don't want to spend any gold on it. There you go. Perfect. Now, but yeah, you can also talk about like whether or not you want to use this thing aggressively in the middle of the game. You could wait till it goes all the way down to like 3 gold and then just use it at that point. And then it becomes profitable to you, right? You don't have to rush this thing down. Get this on ETC. Yeah, that's what we were talking about. Basically, this buddy is better on most other heroes than it is on Elise. It's still really good on Elise. But there's a lot of heroes that kind of breaks the game on. Like, Scabs stealing other people's buddies. When Elise is in the game, Scabs is a way better hero, you know? He's going to passively get a buddy somewhere in the middle of the game that makes your hero power free for the rest of the game. Or ETC discovering into this because you have the opportunity of, you know, about a 1 in 30 chance per turn to get it. But a 1 in 30 nonetheless to get Junior Navigator is still like busted strength if you do get it. Scabs test, ETC racking, yeah, like all those kind of things. Basically what we said before. Anytime that you have a hero power that you're going to press basically every turn that costs you gold, turns out it's a lot better when it doesn't cost you gold. All right, moving on. Gale Wing. New hero power is, or new buddy text is your flight pass trigger twice. That's way more elegant than the previous version of the buddy. The previous version was discounting or making basically a 2-turn reduction on your hero power every time that it ticked instead of 1 turn. So like if something said 3 turns, then it ticked down 2 each time, which effectively just made it 1 turn shorter. Much more elegant, much more playable than the previous one. Gale Wing actually dropped to being not that great of a hero during buddy meta. One of the few times where Gale Wing hasn't been a top tier hero. Triggering flight paths twice means that you get to recover off of a well-timed discover or and then just like take extra gold over the course of the game. The problem is you just don't get this thing early, right? Yay, it's a bed cam. Yeah, for real. It was asked for. It was requested. If you had this thing from turn 1, this is crazy good, right? That first discover of a 3-star or whatever it is, triggering twice, really, really strong. The problem is you're not getting this thing till like turn 6. Then after that, you're going to get like a double discover and maybe an extra 2 gold, and you're going to sell this thing off the board. It's bleh. Opens up some cool curves when you don't just go 3-on-3. You don't have it at the beginning of the game, bro. Remember, this thing doesn't start on your board. You've got to spend gold to get this. And you're not going to have it till like turn 6. You're not going to want to go force winning rounds on Gale Wing as well. Like if you did get this guy, on turn 1, this is an interesting hero because it opens up a lot of opportunity. Or an interesting buddy. But you don't. You get this in the middle of the game, like turn 6, turn 5, whatever it might be. And then it may stay on the board for 2 or 3 turns. It's a neutral 3/4. It's just kind of trash is really what it is. It's just the only way it's playable is because it's being carried by Gale Wing. Gale Wing, top tier hero, like top 5 hero, right? Bad buddy, good or great hero is like playable. Great buddy, bad hero, not typically too playable. Great buddy or great hero, good buddy, like this is going to be much, much, much better. 3-on-3 isn't even playable in buddy meta. I mean, 3-on-3 is playable in buddy meta. Rushing down buddy isn't going to be the goal for every hero. We're not playing buddy meter buddy. We're playing, you're going to spend gold on this shit, buddy. You're basically making an argument that the 2 turns that you're going to lose by going 3-on-3 is 1 gold difference than like winning and losing 1 round average if you stayed on 2. Then you stabilize and you play on 3 and you're stronger than people. You're basically 1 gold difference on the cost of on average the cost of that buddy. So like you're still probably going 3-on-3 on Gale Wing. It's just not as good of a line as it was compared to vanilla no buddy meta, because your line of going 3-on-3 is not benefiting as much as the other people that are doing other things toward a combination of being strong and earning their buddies. Yeah, it's just a different system. New Wag Toggle Buddy. Tier 4, 5/3. Battlecry gain 1 gold for each minion type that you control. So is anybody ever going to pick Wag Toggle this meta? So the new hero power is passively gain some mid stats. Ain't even good. Just tempo, right? Just tempo, and tempo can be good if the game's super fast. Spend gold to gain gold. Yeah, like this is so dumb, right? Like this is so bad. Like if it was somehow gaining gold as it stayed on your board over time or something, then fine. But one-time battle cry gain 5 gold maybe. I guess it can be free on turn 9 and you can gain 5 gold. It's like half of Crag hero power. Is Trash Buddy plus Trash Hero playable? Yeah, right? Bad mid hero, mid bad hero. Like, you know, tier 3 to tier 4 range hero with a new hero power. Garbage Buddy. All right. Wagtoggle had his time in the sun, or her time in the sun, in the original Buddy meta. We don't have to deal with this bullshit this time around. I guess that's a W. This is a dead hero when offered to you. Peace, I'm out. 6 gold is blah. Yeah, I mean, it's also slow. If this was even like a 2-star Buddy, it's probably still not even good enough. 4 stars, crazy slow. My 1-year-old's current obsession is yelling trash when throwing things in the trash. He would love this Buddy. All right, just make sure the 1-year-old's present every time you play it. Then at least he'll get some joy out of it. And all the people in your lobby that laugh that you chose Wagtoggle. You bring joy to the world by choosing this hero. Well, considering that Golden Brand would be 15 gold. Oh, yeah. Yep, all you got to do in the middle of the game is get to a 4-star Buddy, get a Golden Brand passively somehow, and then you can get a decent amount of gold out of it. Fair enough. Just get Golden Brand, Golden Togwaggle, take a bunch of gold, and yeah, it's great. OP. Yeah, that seems doable. All right, we talked about Silas's Buddy yesterday. Thank God they changed this because, well, I will say this. I think Silas's Buddy was one of the most interesting buddies in the game for the first, like, month of Buddy meta. When people were doing all kinds of different shit with it, you were just like, oh, we can try to go to 6 and discover a bunch of 6 stars and we can do whatever. But once it got streamlined and got to a point where you were just playing infinite Peggy, you know, going infinite with Peggy, you're basically playing APM pirates in the form of buying tickets. Then it became super streamlined and boring, and Silas was a top 2, top 3 hero practically every game. Good. We should change that. That was repetitive. It was too strong and repetitive. I'm glad that it is changed to something else. New Silas Buddy. Tavern 436. Whenever you discover a minion, give it 4/4 and upgrade this by 1. Alright, so number 1. Birth at least scales a little bit in the middle of the game. Upgrade this by 1 is effectively scaling to other units that are being bought, right? So even though this unit on the board isn't going to get any bigger, it is mid-game scaling. Is the number big? No. But you do discover quite a few minions in this game. Patient Scout gives you a way to discover. Your hero power obviously gives you a way. Triples give you a way to discover. And the amount of stats that you gain off of that are pretty damn decent, right? So like a Patient Scout gives you a 1-star that gets a 4/4 buff. And then makes the future ones better. For super cheap. I don't know, tier 4 Buddy with plus 4/4 discoveries every turn or so is kind of meh. Yeah, I mean, nobody's over here going, yeah, this is the greatest thing in the world. You're going to go to 4 before you're going to play this, most likely. The number of discoveries that you see in a turn is maybe on average 1.2 or so. You're gaining a 4/4, then maybe like a 5/5, 6/6 in the middle of the game. If games get fast, this can be okay. It is a 4-star Buddy, so it is relatively slow to earn. I think it's like, you know, Silas is a good hero. Silas is a, we'll call it good category of hero. And this Buddy is like slightly bad. Combination of the two is at least playable. Strong? Nah. Nobody's saying busted. Playable. Not a fan. Arana Buddy. Oh no, they changed Arana Buddy so we don't only play Party Rock all day. Alright, if you remember Buddy meta before, Arana had one of the most streamlined play styles. You pretty much just bought Party Rocks and cycled Elementals for days because you got 2 free rerolls for every minion played on the board. Every time you bought a Party Elemental, you got 2 more boards. Every time you bought a Elemental, you got 4 more boards. Well, the new one is after you buy a minion instead of play a minion, which means cycling Elementals no longer gets double value. Practically everything else is fine. Tad, yeah, Tad and Murlocs was the same concept. It was typically Party Rock was the better line, and the Murloc line was a little bit better, a little bit worse, but that was the time period where we had the 2-star Murloc in the game that was scaling health, and that's gone from the game. So like we're never gonna see low tavern tier cycling of Murlocs. Higher tavern tier cycling of Murlocs, maybe. And this could be a relatively decent thing when you're playing with Bran. It's a lot worse since you don't get the value from 2 Bibles in the same shop. Yeah. I don't think it's very good at all, to be honest. But you also got rid of the, like you said, the what was being said. We got rid of the secondary scaling line in Murlocs on Tavern 2, which means that this is kind of Party Elemental or Party Rock or bust. And Party Rock or bust, when you don't have the ability to reroll nearly as many times, is just not consistent. Tier 2 with 4/4 stats? Yeah, I mean, that portion's okay. A couple rerolls are decent. But Arana's a bad hero. This buddy is still good. The buddy in a vacuum is good. If this buddy was on a good hero, this would be a strong buddy. But if you don't really have direction from the buddy nor off of the hero power now, it's hard to combine those two. Bad hero, virtually unplayable hero, Arana, right? Prior to buddy meta. Like in this last meta that we just played, who was playing Arana? Anybody? Yeah, okay. A person in chat, I'm sure you were. I see you typing out your angrily, I like Arana. But that wasn't really a meta hero, right? It wasn't really played. And now the buddy isn't going to solve the problem to that degree. It's not as cheesable now. I like Arana. There you go. I knew it was coming in chat. I wish I liked Arana. I've been playing Arana. I see you guys. Never diss a hero, because chat will go out of their way to be like, I will have you know that Arana is the best hero in the game. Oh, hey, look, they changed Arthas. Who could have seen this coming? Considering that they removed Khadgar when they put Undead in the game, I'm sure they would leave Arthas in its original form. Yeah, I mean, we were making jokes about this the entire time when they said buddies were coming back. It's like, oh my god, Arthas is coming. New Arthas, tier 3/4/3. After a friendly minion is reborn, give its minions attack. Give it this minion's attack. So you want to scale Arthas? And then Arthas becomes a way of making a bunch of death rattles into big minions. Or, let's just talk about the easier way to use this. Just play a noob boards. Because sure, we can go make Arthas big. That's not really that feasible. Scaling undead and beast minions typically isn't too easy to do. Nerubian's already a crazy good card for undead, and you can take a little bit of that in the middle of the game. But you're going to need reborn units, right? So your immediate thought is Fell Stomper and a noob like Summoner, whatever, reborn boards. This is another version of Chronormu. I mean, it's a lot of power. The fact that this thing is like in the middle of the game, like 6/7 attack, it reborns with 6/7 attack, you know? Just that by itself is a strong minion. Actually, no, wait, never mind. This thing no longer has reborn. I didn't even notice that on the first take. Never mind. Okay. Now it's a little more balanced. Yeah, it doesn't have reborn. It can be reborn. Yeah. It can, since it's an undead, it can be given reborn. I thought at first it was still reborn because, you know, that's how the old card text was on it. Okay, it's weaker in the middle of the game. I was thinking, like, holy shit, this is one of the highest tempo buddies, and on top of that, it enables things. It's still good, don't get me wrong. It can be reborn with beast too, yes, true. But you need to have, like, the tribe in the game to play it. You can get this thing 50% of lobbies where beasts aren't in, 50% of lobbies where undead aren't in. And this card could be in the game with no beast and no undead, right? Like, saying that, oh, there's a way to fix it, sure. But you're relying upon cards not only being in the game, and you're not guaranteed to have that happen 50% of the time, that tribe be in the game, you still got to find that card too. And you're not going to find it in the early portions of the game where this is super strong. Now, it's still super strong with Fell Stomper. It's still super strong with the noob reborn boards. Still super strong with whatever the 5-star give a minion reborn undead that has reborn. That kind of stuff. Is it busted? Yeah, kinda. And your hero power, of course, right? You are Lich King, after all. You always have the one reborn. I think that Lich King goes right back to being a very good card. Very good hero, I should say. Because of the good boy right here. Like, good hero, Lich King, right? Great buddy. Combination of them is top 20, top 15, top 10, somewhere in that range. Start talking about that whenever we're evaluating new buddies. It's like, how good is the hero by itself? How good is the buddy? If they're both at least above average, then they're very playable heroes. Good hero, great buddy is going to be amongst the better combinations. Hey, Bofur, 9 out of 10 beanie. Thanks, dude. 9 out of 10. Gallywix. All right, well, dev comment here we can address first. A few buddies have had their effects change from battlecry effects to functionally similar effects, so their gameplay would generally stay the same, but they wouldn't be too powerful with Brand. So we're balancing around Brand now. Then again, this was really busted before. Gallywix is super good with this buddy. Instead of the buddy saying gain XX for each gold that you spent this turn, it now just reads X0 or 0x. Choose health or attack, then scale by that amount for how much gold you spent that turn. This is where, like, this kind of effect hasn't happened in Battlegrounds before. No, you just use it once. So would you just target a minion and give it that, but we're not going to consider it a battle cry? Very similar to, like, the druid cards in standard. Yeah, it's just a weird one, man. They're just changing it so that the word battle cry isn't there. Dev comment, game design is hard. I know. Like, they're just trying to make it so the word battle cry is not there so Brand doesn't affect it. But we introduced a new term that has never been used in Battlegrounds just to avoid this mechanic. Fair enough. Can't download patch, common problem at the moment. You on mobile? It's patch day, dude. This is like being at Thanksgiving Day dinner and grandma being like, I can't access my email. Every person's going to have different issues. No idea. Can't speak to it. Everybody's on different devices and different whatever. It's patch day. It'll work itself out. Ticketus, buddy. Fundamentally changed is no longer a battle cry effect. When you sell this, discover a Darkmoon prize from next tavern. This is way worse. Like, way worse. Bofur, I can't print. Yep, that's where we are. Sad. Not only can you not get multiple procs out of it, but you also have to give up the 6/6 stat line from your board to get the Darkmoon prize. Now, in certain points in the game, giving up the 6/6 isn't the end of the world. But getting this thing early, trying to push this button early to get the 6/6 minion and then get the prize isn't going to be feasible, right? Because you have to then sell the minion that needs a spot on the board as well. Like, I get trying to get rid of the effect with Brand, but the fact that you have to get rid of the body from the board is like super bad. Now, it just means that you're going to have to wait to use this at a little bit later point in the game, or maybe you hero power, put it on the board one turn, wait till turn 8, then sell it off afterwards so you can discover a turn 12 spell or whatever. Timing wise, this is going to be a little bit interesting to see how effectively you can take this on gold curves in the middle of the game. It's kind of hard to theory craft because unless we go start mapping out leveling curves, how often you are going to win, then in turn, like, win how much gold that's going to cost you to be able to pick this card up. You're really going to want to be able to sell this minion from your board on turn 8. You get the turn 8 spell, you get the buddy that they didn't sell, and then get the turn 12 spell, effectively. Just make it a choose one effect and only one option. Yeah, right? It's a big change. Yogg Saron got the same treatment. When you sell this, spin the wheel of Yogg. Same thing. You got to sell the minion. No longer can you just take the wheel of Yogg spins. All right, fine, whatever. Cariel, choose one. Conviction. Gives an additional 2 attack for the rest of the game or 2 health. It's a 4-star buddy that gives you a passive 2 attack by keeping a neutral 7/5 on the board. What am I missing here? Every time you push the button, obviously, the hero power. So it can go from 2/2 to 4/2 or to 2/4. You don't have to keep it on the board? Yeah, okay. I did say keep it on the board. I didn't really mean keep it on the board. But it's a 7/5 minion that is a neutral that you don't want to keep on the board, is really what I was trying to say. I kind of worded that one poorly. It just makes your hero power press a little bit better. And is 4-2 for all minions once you go to Tavern 5 enough justification to play a 4-star buddy that's going to cost you a bunch of gold to get? Because, like, yeah, sure, I can play the minion. I can upgrade my hero power. I need to go to 5, which is also going to cost a lot of gold to be able to get good value off of the hero power. And I have a neutral minion I don't even want to be on my board now. I guess the 7-5 stat line is kind of nice. You're looking for a turn that you can go to 5 now. And going to 5 is hard when the gold cost has been increased. For what upside? It's a lot of gold. It is a lot of gold. That's the point I'm trying to illustrate here. You're not gaining something that is a permanent card for your board. You are getting 2 attack per turn added to all your minions, for example, if you can press the button and you're on Tavern 5. Choose 1 is confusing. Choose 1 just hasn't existed in Battlegrounds before. The way that they choose to implement it is, it's pretty straightforward once you do it. It's just not inherently clear with patch notes when we haven't had the effect before, right? Going to 5, take buddy, get good cards, then permanent hero power. Yeah, just sure. Yeah, just do it. The explanation on how you make this card work is just make it work, Bofur. Don't think about the how, just get it done, dude. It's like the bad manager that you have that's like, I don't care how you do it, just get the job done. We're trying to describe a problem with why this doesn't work. I don't care. Just get it done. How do you get to 5, have enough gold to have this on the board, and enough turns to appropriately push the button to get back the value of the cost of the buddy plus the level to 5 turn? Just have 20 extra gold. Exactly. Yeah, just do it, bro. Just get it done. I don't like it. I don't like it at all. I don't think, let's word it this way. I think Cariel is fine as a hero. When tempo matters, Cariel is fine as a hero. Not a fun one, not exceptionally great, but like a good hero. Middle of the road, bottom of tier 2, top of tier 3 range. The problem is the buddy mechanically is hard to play because you need to be able to go to 5 in games where you don't technically want to go to 5 most of the time. And it does work well with a couple specific boards, like, Mechrel boards, Divine Shield boards, etc., cleaves and such. It's just like you got to high roll beforehand to get to a place where you can even play your normal strat. And that's going to be very, very hard. Medium tier hero, medium tier buddy, but they don't work together. They don't synergize very well. Because it's just like, it's too expensive to do both of them. To push your button to level to 5 and to get to this point where you can afford to push the button to get the hero or the buddy. Maleficent, Squirrel Bomb's back. Squirrel Bomb is half of the old Squirrel Bomb, basically. Death Rattle deal 2 damage to a random enemy for each of the mechs that have died this combat. Remember old Squirrel Bomb? Remember how busted Maleficent was in its original form? Bombs going everywhere. Reborning squirrels. Squirrels everywhere. The thing about Squirrel Bomb strats was that they had a high ceiling and they got online really quick. Wasn't it 3 damage before? It was 4 damage before. It was OP. It was 8, like the doubled bombs, tons of damage from the, basically 8 damage for the gold one, each thing dying. It was nutty. Big part is that this is a 1 random minion, right? I mean, the way that you play this kind of strat is basically one of 2 options. You play a bunch of minions that are mechs on the board and a bunch of death rattles as much as you can, microbots, resets, deflectobot, etc. And you throw a squirrel at the end of the composition. It's just a really good minion to be around on that board. That like, oh cool, I get to play some mechs, I get to play, I'm Maleficent, so like my new Maleficent hero power is somewhat relevant too. And then it's like a big bomb that goes off the end and cleans up boards. The second way is that you get to Khadgar, and much like playing Exodia mechs, you play towards Squirrel. You get Squirrel in the Death Rattle pool first, and then you spawn a ton of things off of Khadgar. After you have a bunch of mechs die, then the squirrels are respawning, and each of those squirrels is then in turn dealing a bunch of damage because all those mechs have died prior to that point. Like it's basically like an Exodia composition. Not Exodia in the sense that like it all goes off at the same time, but you refill the board with the squirrels instead of a Mega Busters. Wait, Khadgar's back? Where's Khadgar? No, Khadgar's not back. But yeah, the Squirrel comp was really, really, really good because it got online really quickly, because Squirrel was a good mid-game tempo card. And then it gave you the ceiling to get to that entire combination. Kangors? Yeah. Kangors, Khadgar, they're not the same card. Damn, I got hyped for a second. How good is it at 2 damage per? It's weaker. It's definitely weaker. But it still has a ceiling that's pretty high. All right. Master Win is Buddy is this is just changes. Buddy is now Tavern 1. Interesting to see Tavern 1 buddies. We talked about before how Tavern 2 buddies were super duper strong, right? Super duper strong. You see the changes are amazing? Yeah, I like changes. Encourage building boards early rather than go to 5 or 6 and hope for the best result. Yeah, I don't buy that portion of the argument. I don't think that playing toward buddies is going to be the be-all end-all for every hero. That there are a lot of buddies that you're just going to play the game like normal and you're going to get them whenever they're available to you. High rolls are still going to be the same thing. The Tavern tier change is going to prevent people from going to 5 quite as aggressively, but it's still going to be good. I don't buy the argument that like people aren't going to be playing for 5s or 6s. Like, it's still going to be the meta. The game doesn't, like, there aren't things on 4 and your buddies don't give you enough direction to play the game on low Tavern tiers. You're still just going to need to go to 5 or 6. And then there's a big problem there, that there's a lot of buddies that enable going to 5 or 6, which is going to polarize the mid game. So while on the surface, I agree with that the changes are amazing because things change, I don't think that it does what you're expecting there. Not just about buddies, but going to 5 early. There is more gold in the game in buddy games than non-buddy games. The 2 gold change is necessary to keep the pacing of going to 5 or 6 about the same. I don't think it does what you're expecting. And just wait and play buddy meta a little bit. Remember Barov being on 6 on turn 6 very consistently during buddy meta, right? Obviously, it's going to be slower with the new changes to buddies. But people are still going to level very quickly in the game. It's not like you can't go to 5 because it's 11 gold. We can go past 11 gold now. We can go over 10. It's just a slight bump in the road difference. And I don't think people are going to be hard forcing tempo to be like back in buddy meta where you had the buddy meter and you had to get those that damage early game. 2 discount versus 3 discount, especially when you split mid-game rounds. Power leveling is still going to be very good, because you just accept that instead of winning half of the fights, you're winning none of the fights. Over the first 4 turns, that just turns into 2 gold difference on your buddy. And then you win all of the fights afterwards, so you make up that gold difference if you're not going to buy your buddy as early as turn 4 or turn 5. There's some heroes that are going to want to get their buddy as quickly as possible. And there are a lot of heroes that are just going to be okay with getting it on turn 6. And then power leveling is still the play there. Regardless, Tavern 1 buddies timetable is going to be very interesting. I'm optimistic on Master Win and Hook Tusk. Both have very playable hero powers. And now they have buddies that you're going to get at a very early time in the game. Yo, Jada at home, thank you so much for the 3 months. We shall see, though. This is just a prediction. I think the changes are cool. I love changes. I like the game changing. But I don't think the game becomes less about power leveling. I think it even, if anything, becomes more about power leveling than this last meta that we just played. Because now we have these, I'm optimistic about these two hero powers, because the Tavern 1 timetable, we can go back and look at that timetable just to, a glance. You're talking about an initial cost of 11, just assuming that you lose every round, which is ludicrous because you're either Panda or Hook Tusk, and both of them are very strong. Means that you're going to get 3 2 gold discounts over the first 3 turns. So turn 4, you can easily get your buddy. You can get your buddy, then you can hero power. If you take 1 or 2 wins, like, Shiny's Curve or Rafam Curve Hook Tusk, which is typical, then you're going to be getting this thing even as early as turn 3, most likely turn 4. You'll just wait till it gets a little bit cheaper. And then this guy right here starts discounting. Turn 4, you start this, you win, then lose, and you have a golden minion. You have a golden minion for 6 gold. You win the early portion of the game. You get that turn 4 buddy. You put that on the board. That helps you win the next round. You win 1 round, then you power level from that point. You lose. You're on low curve. You're picking up pairs into triples anyway as Hook Tusk. You're on Tavern 3. This thing goes to 10 gold. You go to 4. This thing goes to 8 gold. You go to 5. you discover into a 6, sell off the minion, push your button, get the second 6-star. Like like these are the types of heroes that are illustrating the exact opposite point of what was being said in that previous comment, which is like it's going to remove or reduce the incentive or the power leveling nature of the game. Like this is Hooktusk is like a very consistent 2 6-stars on turn 8 type of hero with this leveling curve. You're looking for 1 triple in the mid game off of a hero power that you're going to be able to buy a bunch of minions and get a lot of views at minions, especially with the new buddy, and a buddy that's going to triple as well, because this thing will turn the buddy golden at the point that you get the second proc. Yo, Shady Buddy, my dude, thank you so much for the raid. Coming in hot raid with the party of 193. Real quick shout out, Shady Bunny. Yeah, just the theory crafting on like the Tavern 1 buddies and how quickly you get to the golden version of them. That accelerates the power leveling curve. And power leveling isn't something as we haven't removed the incentive for power leveling with the new buddy system. The difference between playing for full power and playing for leveling and losing rounds is only a difference of a couple gold in the mid game. I think Hooktusk is going to be a top tier hero. Whoops. Enough talk. No, bro. Played Hooktusk and had a Quillboard game, naturally lost to a Hogger. That is the way. Yo, Jalak Gamer with the tier 3 sub. Dude, thank you so much for the 15 months. Appreciate the love, man. Just played Hooktusk, had a great Quillboard game. I'm genuinely a believer in Hooktusk. I'm always a believer in Hooktusk. I love the hero. But anybody that has a tier 2 buddy in the past meta was always that, like, bam. Tier 2 buddies gave you access to triples so aggressively in the game that incentivized you power leveling. Now in this new meta, we're going to have tier 1 buddies. They're going to be accessible on basically the same timeline as tier 2 buddies were passively given to you in the previous meta, or the previous buddy meta. And you have the ability to either A, get benefit off of Master Wind's hero power in a more efficient form, or B, fish for triples on Hooktusk. I genuinely believe Hooktusk is busted. Like, this is probably a top 5 hero in this meta. All right, last but not least, we got new minions. A few new minions, just to open up the space for this discussion. Let's talk about first. Terracosa is going to Tavern 4. Rendell's gone. Happy hands, Rendell. No. I actually really liked Rendell as a card. Then again, I do appreciate that this card was a little bit toxic on certain heroes and was a major swinging point for tripling into 4s. That Rendell hits were way better than the average 4-star. I'm just a little frustrated with the design of the game in general, that 4-star quality has dropped so heavily. That like cards that we want on Tavern 4, they just keep removing. And the game becomes more and more about getting access to direction from 5 or 6. I get it. If you make the Tavern 4 ridiculously strong, then you don't incentivize leveling and the game devolves the tempo, think taunt comp meta. But like a little bit more direction giving value or synergies existing on 4, I think would be very, very helpful for the game. I don't like removing Rendell. Like Witchwing was another card that existed in the game on 4 that was useful. And they removed that too. They just keep doing it. Bring back Egg. Egg was a good card to play into. Khadgar Egg stuff was always good. They just keep removing all the things that aren't high roll or die roll from the game. And I don't like that trend. Now, short-term changes, buddies are going to dominate things a lot more right now. I don't think this is a major problem in buddy meta, and maybe it comes back after buddy meta or something. Maybe they introduce new value to 4 or whatever it might be. And no more Houndmaster. No, not Houndmaster. I mean, it does make Leapers a little weaker. It does make, what's their name? Army of the Empire a little weaker. This has some ramifications. A cyclable card on most boards for Theatar. Wait, does that mean Hamul's still in? I thought they said they were going to remove it. Yeah, it's not actually in the patch notes. But they did say that Hamul was only in the previous patch until the next patch. Maybe they forgot. Maybe Hamul's still in. It's hard to tell, right? People can definitively say Hamul is still in because if they saw Hamul, then it's still in. But if like you played 5 games and you didn't see Hamul, that doesn't confirm that Hamul's been removed. Yeah, I haven't seen it yet, but it could still be out there. Hamul's out, dev confirm. Damn. Actually, I honestly think the game's better without Hamul, but it was fun while it lasted. Schrodinger's Hamul. Yeah, if we don't look, then it's still in the game and not in the game simultaneously. All right, new minions, real quick. Then we go play video games. Poetic Pen Pal, Tavern 2, 2-4. Neutral minion. All right, once again, neutral. Neutral benefits Theatar. Battle Cry effect. Makes brand better. Discount the cost of your next buddy by 2. A 2-4 neutral on 2. All right, well, it's 2 gold. If you're going to be playing your buddy in the middle of the game, as long as you can make use of that 2 gold, then this is like very similar to buying Gambler. That you get 3 gold instead of 1 gold off of the unit. 2 gold to the buddy. 1 gold by selling the unit back. If anything, you can make an argument that if this thing's going to stay on the board in the middle of the game, that this can be very, very strong. Even better than what a Gambler would typically be to you, because you get the gold back, but you also can keep the body in the meantime. Now, all that being said, there's going to be a time and a place for this. There are going to be times where you're going to be able to get your buddy for, you know, X minus, or leave 3 gold floating after your buddy or whatever, and you're just going to end up giving yourself an extra roll or 2, whatever it might be. A lot of times we're buying this is just going to be functionally the same as, you know, buying anything else in the game, because you're not going to get your buddy in the meantime, so you're just going to be sitting there with a 2-4 neutral on the board. It's situational, but very oftentimes a very good card. Swap it with Jandis. I mean, not really. It's a Battle Cry effect. You're buying it to play it, to swap it, to buy it again, to get the Battle Cry effect again. It's better than nothing. Don't get me wrong. But like buying it and selling it type of cycling isn't net positive value to you. The difference between that and like Alley Cat is that you take a triple, right? You cycle minions onto your board from the swap and take the triple. With new Shutterwalk, yeah, it's better. It's a good card for new Shutterwalk. Yep, for sure. There's synergies here. And there are times where this is going to be good to play, and there's going to be times where this is bad to play. If anything, it's a pretty well-designed 2-star. Has synergies with certain hero powers. Cool. Leeching Fellhound. All right, first of all, boo. Blizzard. Stop. Leeching Fellhound. Tavern 3 Demon. 3-3. This cost health instead of gold. Why do we polarize mid-games more? Amazing free card? Yeah. It's great. It's a great card. It's a cyclable card. It doesn't cost you anything if you have Kathy on the board. But the problem is it's an extra minion, right? And it polarizes games even more, where you end up in scenarios where one person has 5 minions and one has 6. They've cost themselves health to a degree in the middle of the game, but they're then taking the gold back out of it, being able to use it and winning a round in the process, which in turn pays itself back in terms of the health. It's another mid-game card that finding this card is kind of like an auto buy. Makes 3-on-3 lines a little better. Wait, how much health? 1 or what? I imagine the cost of it, but you know, it could be whatever. I assume 3. Oh boy, can't wait to go 3-on-3 high roll when someone hits 2 of these. Yeah, Kathy first board. First board 3-on-3 is Kathy and 3 Fellhounds. Easy clap. Easy clap. Just hit the nuts. Really good with Varden. You can kill yourself quickly. But still, it's a pretty good with Varden, right? Because you can just buy these minions at level in the process too. Does it cost 2 HP for Millhouse? Yeah, probably. Haven't actually seen it yet, but probably. The gold cost of it. Regardless, moving on. Fireworks Fanatic. Tier 4, 4-3. Whenever you buy a minion that you already have, give your minions +1/+1. Clarification here is any minion that you currently have in your hand or on the board. So you immediately think cheese, right? You think, can we use this like we use Theatar? In the way that you would just put minions on the board, then cycle minions through to take stats additively to your board. Feels pretty damn good, man. Especially once you get 2 of them. Because if you have 2 of them, you put them on the board, you could have 4 other minions on the board, and then have a couple cards in your hand, especially things like, you know, Droplet, or like Murlocs or something like that, where you could play to have 5, 6, 7 eligible cards that you can pick up for scaling. And it's not like it's small value, because it's somewhere in the range of like a 6/6 buff each time you're picking up a unit that you pair. You can pick up like Pupbot and have that on your board. So Pupbot is like, you know, a super common card because it's on Tavern 1. It's nasty with Hogger. Sure, it's nasty with Hogger. That you have like a handful of of pirates, and you just keep one of each copy, and then you can scale with that. It's good with Millhouse. Yeah, well, of course. Millhouse seems like the #1 place for this. That Millhouse loves when 4 stars give value, and being able to take a wide variety of cards from the board to take value. Super, super good there. Varden, yeah, Varden breaks it. Yeah, Varden breaks a lot of things, though. Varden just naturally gives you pairs on top of potentially giving this thing as a pair super early on. If you could get multiple copies of this kind of card, it's just kind of crazy. Works with Trash for Treasure Hero Power. It's good for Hook Tusk for sure. You have potential with Jandis to be able to double play things. You also hit this on getting a triple. No idea, honestly. I would assume yes. But that was, that's my assumption. I haven't seen it in play yet. I would say that that would count because you add the card typically with the mechanics of Hearthstone to your hand first. That thing is then, that would then trigger the unit. And then by playing the card back down on the board, you would discover. That's just it, though. I don't remember if I triggered it that way, but I assume it would. Just testing? Yeah, I mean, we'll figure it out as we play. I would assume so. I would go with yes, is very, very likely the case. Dr. Boombox. All right, first of all, like the flavor. Dr. Boombox. Dr. Boom with the whole Hearthstone background. It's a mech. It's a 7/1. It's a 4-star. Death Rattle deals 7 damage to the nearest nearest enemy minions. Here's the 2 nearest enemy minions. What's near? Opposite or first in line? Nearest. You and I have our own interpretation of the word nearest means. Got to assume it means the minions across the board from it. Real white mane vibes. Seems kind of weak. Does it seem kind of weak? Does a minion that is a 7/1 that deals 14 damage when it dies, that seems kind of weak to you? Does that seem weak? In what world is that weak? That's nuts. That minion trades potentially 21 damage from a random 4-star. Put shoe on head or riot. I don't have shoes. Slipper on head, maybe? It's great tempo? Yeah, I mean, it looks like they tried to put something else in the game that can function like White Mane did to try to snipe Baron. The fact that it is the number 7 seems very targeted at Baron. Protecting Baron is a lot easier to do from Dr. Boombox because you could just put like a single blood gem and it's not going to kill it or whatever. Regardless, if it only had magnetic, I mean, it can still be a minion that you module or whatever on the board. It's gonna be a powerhouse mid-game minion. This thing on the board, just put it position 1. It attacks and deals 14 damage to the 2 first minions on their board. Or 12 damage, or 7 damage twice to the first 2 minions on their board. Bruh. Like, I feel like my first take when I saw this card was, okay, kind of a cool stance to take to try to counter Baron, but who the fuck missed the whole mid-game application for this? Like, when you design this card and you're like, okay, it has late game value and it's a kind of cool tech card, if it completely breaks the mid game by adding it, it's not a healthy card. Also kills the random Leroys. Yeah, no shit. It's nuts. This card is so freaking strong. Like, this is not an okay card. This is a 4-star that deals 14 damage when it dies, and it still does 7 itself. Potentially. You know, it could just run into a 2/1, and then the Death Rattles could hit little minions, but like, how many little minions are in position 1 or 2 on the board? You're just going to throw that shit at the front. You no more jugglers? I mean, it's a hard counter to a juggler board. Because you can just put it position 6 or position 7 or whatever, depending on what they're going to do with their jugglers. The first time a juggle hits the bomb, it bomb blows up a juggler, and that's just it. It's not even ghoul proof. I mean, if it dies to a ghoul, then the ghoul goes off, deals 3 damage to their board, and then Boombox goes off and deals 14 damage to their board. It's not even like it's that bad. Yeah, sure, it can get gold and it can lose its original body. I misread it as a 6-star before seeing it in play. I just don't understand how this can be on Tavern 4. I don't understand it in any way, shape, or form. I get that you want to make this thing like kind of cool to counter Baron, but 7 is not an acceptable number to be on Tavern 4. This thing could be a 1/1, and it's still busted because of this card text. Yeah, everybody jumps to the white mane analogy. You're thinking the late game potential for it. This is the most busted 4-star they have ever added to the game tempo-wise. You pick this card up in the middle of the game and you are not losing rounds. This card right here potentially kills the first 2 minions on the board from their side and hits something for 7. He thought Arcane Cannon was bad. Alright, moving on. What the fuck? Sly Raptor, Tavern 4 Beast. Remember, we lost High Mane for you. We lost Bomb for you. 1 attack, 3 health. Terrible stats for a 4-star. 1 attack, 3 health. Summon another random beast, set its stats to 7/7. Oh, that's where the stats are. So basically, you get a random beast added to the board. It's a Death Rattle beast. Who knows what the beast is going to be, but its card text is going to read 7/7. Or it's, who knows what the card text will be, but its stats will be 7/7. Could be a 7/7 Hyena. Could be a 7/7 Death Rattle beast. Could be a 7/7 Goldrin. Could be a 7/7 Fell Stomper, but remember, it's probably going to attack next if you're putting this thing toward the front. It's 7/7. Coiler, yeah, Coiler's a pretty good hit. It's a 7/7. It's a Death Rattle minion. If you have Mama Bear on the board or Stompy Boy, it synergizes well with that. Beast version of Mechano Egg, yeah, kind of very similar, but generally speaking, beasts are very, very, very capable of utilizing multiple bodies and beast bodies at that. I think it would be a higher tiers. You mean this one, Sly Raptor, or Boombox? Yeah, Boombox needs to be a 6-star. If you're going to make this card, I mean, even 5 is more reasonable, but 4 is not acceptable. You get the 4 so quickly in the game. Lich Baz's best friend. Raptor needs to be higher tier. I think Raptor's kind of okay to be on Tavern 4 like this. A 7/7 body and a 1/3 is not uber busted. It's about the same amount of stats as what High Mane used to be. It summons 1 thing instead of 2 things, which can be better in some places and worse in others. You know, concentrated stats versus small stats. If you play it early in a fight, to get its trigger, you're attacking with a minion that doesn't typically kill anything, so like you're not getting much value out of the 1/3 at all. I think this is actually somewhat okay. Like, I think this is a fairly balanced card. Interesting change up in the distribution of stats, though. It'll be utilized in a different manner. It's a very, 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 very good late game beast card. That once you can go to 6, you can play toward Fell Stomper or whatever, the ability to potentially give yourself Gas Coiler or Goldrin or something like that off of it. I assume it works with a very similar pool of minions like Genie does. Unless that's not the way it works. Does it just randomly pull Gas Coilers when you're on Tavern 4? Mama Bear triggers before or after the 7/7 stat set? We haven't seen it yet, but I'd assume after. Macaw plus this is funny. Yeah, Macaw's very good with this. For sure, for sure, for sure. But Macaw's a really weak card in the middle of the game right now, prior to this card being added. Like, one of the best cards in the game for Macaw was Egg, and Egg was removed. It's a good question. It is a good question. We'll have to see when we see it, but I would assume that they do it in this order. Someone send help. I'm playing APM builds on patch day. Oh, you're wrecked. Can't play anymore. Your phone or computer is just going to blow up. You're going to disconnect 47 times. All right. Love it. I actually kind of like the design of this card. Makes Macaw better, and I think you guys know my opinion on Macaw. Starting soon screen. What card is that, Bofur? I think Macaw's the best design card that Blizzard has ever added to the game. Absolutely love Macaw as a design. Macaw with Boombot. God damn it, I forgot about that one. No! God damn it. I didn't even think about the Macaw synergy. No! We don't need this. We don't need this card in the game. Please don't ruin my game. Please don't. Blizzard. Please move this at least to 5. Oh, god damn it, man. Alright, well, we're probably gonna hotfix on like Thursday or something, so enjoy it while it lasts. 2 golden macaws, 4 Dr. Boomboxes, Baron, yeah, that's it. My god, just like blow up the whole board. 14 times 2 times 2 with gold macaw, yeah, for real. Put Baron on the boards, multiple Barons, Golden Baron, Dr. Boombox Exodia. Respawn them all. Oh my god. Is there an Exodia line here? PSA, guys, don't pick heroes in combat abilities like Rafam. Our combats are being skipped right now and you might not get things. Rip. Can we Exodia Dr. Boombox? I mean, obviously it's not going to be good as a Mega Buster, but like if you don't have a Mega Buster, we go for like Ghoul, Baron, Kangor's, Dr. Boomboxes and just keep respawning them with Baron. It'd be good against certain things. And it's we're not thinking this is like the end game goal. But if you get Kangor's Baron in the middle of the game and you have a Dr. Boombox, you're probably playing toward like an Exodia line for it. You're just going to do that and then go to 6. And you're going to use that to be strong for a couple turns. And then you're going to look for a Mega Buster to transition to a final build. Dr. Boombox with Rabbit Buddy Exodia is ridiculous. Rabbit Buddy. Oh, this guy. Rabbit? Question mark? All right. It's got a rabbit. It's got ears. I mean, his name Squirrel Bomb, but you know, we'll ignore that part. The number of people out there that still think the hyena is a beaver astounds me. I think you're memeing, guys. Regardless. Nearly, yeah, it was close enough. I got to what you meant. Rabbit equals squirrel. Rodent comp. I got it. Gym Smuggler. Tier 4 Quillbore. 3 attack. 4 health. Battlecry play Blood Gym on all of your other Quillbore. I see. We didn't remove Necrolite, right? Nope. So another 4-star Battlecry Blood Gym unit. That's going to help Quillbore quite a bit. Now, Quillbore are in desperate need of help. First take is that this is a strong Battlecry effect. Yep. Agreed. Strong Battlecry effect. But maybe a necessary Battlecry effect for Quillbore to get some value. It is bad, very bad, if you are not a Quillbore board, right? It's not like play a Blood Gym on everything. It's a play a Blood Gym on all of your Quillbore. Obviously, double play with Bran, has synergy with Duo. Why is it only Quillbore, though? Because it'd be way too strong if it was a 7/7 buff every time you cycled it through. Or 6/6 buff every time you cycled it through. It'd be busted if it wasn't. It'd be like Jug for every board state. And on top of that, synergies with Blood Gyms. Why do you have other in the card so it doesn't buff itself? Well, it could have been all. Yeah, I mean, it could buff itself. It could have been all. They decided to balance it or whatever. Maybe they did some internal testing. I got this joke book today. Let me open it up real quick. It's like 47 dad jokes and also Blizzard doing internal testing. Keck Wiggle, jokes aside. All jokes aside. They probably just decided it was more balanced this way. Internal testing, got him. Sassy Bofur, I'm only giving him shit. But they did just introduce this card. I have no faith in the balance of this patch right now. Why is this in the game? Regardless. Enablers for Duo, enablers for Agam, enablers for Bran, enablers for cyclable cards just to play things like Dark Gaze and more minions that you want to buy and sell to get better efficiency out of your gold. Yeah. It's just a good card for Quillbore. For everybody else, it's kind of shit. It's going to be a lot of dead boards where you see this card and you're like, I can't use that. But how is that any different than most 4-stars? It's a good card to enable a tribe that's relatively weak. Original language was on y'all's Quillbore, but they changed it for clarity. I mean, it would have made more sense to me. Battlecry play a Blood Gym on y'all's Quillbore. I got it. Yeah, that makes sense. Perfect sense right there. Y'all's Quillbore gonna get big. Y'all's Quillbore get fed. They get fat, we feed them up. We chop them all up and we eat the Quillbore. Sounds tasty. Do a little barbecue. Yo, Bone Mare. So Bone Mare's never been in Battlegrounds, right? I had a gut take that this was in Battlegrounds before. I'm pretty confident this was only in Standard. It was just such an impactful card when it was in Standard that I remember it so clearly that I was like, was this in Battlegrounds? But I was not 100% sure whether Bone Mare has ever been in the game before. Regardless, Undead Beast Tribe as a combination, definitely interesting. Buffable with multiple lines. Yeah, I guess this is what Houndmaster died for. Yeah. Yes, it was in BGs. It was in BGs. Yeah, it's been a long time. Maybe it is. Maybe it was. It all blurs together, whether it was a standard card or a BG's card. This was a really strong card in standard for a while, right? Maybe it was a top tier arena card when it came out. Yeah, it was like it was the strongest card in arena. That's part of the reason why I remember it. No, it was not in BG. See, look, like we're getting both answers out of chat. That's why I like looked at it and was like, I don't remember. Was this here or was this not? It was so impactful that it is clear in my mind that this card is a good card. But I didn't think it had ever been in BGs. At the same time as Cannon, pretty sure it was a neutral before. Oh my god. It doesn't really matter going forward. 5/5, Battlecry, give a friendly minion plus 4/4 and taunt. I feel like not in BGs, I just looked it up. Okay, well there you go. There you go. There you go, there you go. It was just such a big mid-game tempo swing in standard that like the first person that got down the bone mare and then got a value trade something just won the game on the mid-game board fights. Then you had to win from off board. Regardless, that was a time period where I actually played standard back in the day. A Battlecry, give a minion 4/4 and taunt. Super strong because it is not tribal dependent. Houndmaster had to target beasts. Bone Mare doesn't have to target beasts. Synergizes with Bran. Super strong card for Beast Undead. It also works with double effects on Horse, for example. Another way to get taunt on Horse as well, which is good or bad in certain scenarios. We're about 2 hours in. Now we should start over. We're almost done. But yeah, Houndmaster is removed. The taunt has been moved to Tavern 5, so it's going to be less accessible. You're going to have to give stats to Frogger. Can't target shops. True. Can't target shops. It is better for Bran, worse for Leapfrogger, better for most mid-game boards, but it is less accessible. You're not going to see as many boards with it. Worse for Theotar. Use your horse to boost your horse. Yeah, an extra horse. Undead horse for the other undead horse. Regardless, we'll see. It's an interesting card. It's a tech card. And it's buffs in the middle of the game. Another card that we've made multiple statements that Bran is better this patch. With buddies, with cards that they've introduced that are battle cries. Just in general, Bran's going to be a better card. And last but not least, Shell Collector has been nerfed to a 2/1. Cool. I mean, it's one of the best cards in the game on Tavern 1. Making it 2/1. Kind of a nerf. A good nerf. An appropriate nerf. And then Battlemaster has been changed to gain 2 health for each health that you've lost instead of 1. Don't freak out first. Don't freak out up front. The reason for it is exactly as the dev comment says. It's changed to compensate for the decrease in the maximum health base of heroes. Remember, all of the heroes have had their health reduced and armor added. So like, Battlemaster is going to be a harder card to play because oftentimes you haven't lost health by that point in the game. Battlemaster is going to gain 2 health for every health that you've lost, but you've got to chip through that 10 plus armor at the beginning to even have that first health loss. So it's just a rebalancing of the effect. It can be significantly better. It is way better for patchwork. Way better for you beat me to it there, Hearthstone Battleground. It is way better for patchwork. Patchwork is now going to have the ability to be able to put like a 70 health minion on the board in the middle of the game. Now it's just a 570, you know, but still super good. 60? I mean, it could be, if you're talking Patchwork's health, I'm just saying like a number in the middle of the game. That's much more reasonable. It could be 100 health Battlemaster in the middle of the game. It could be, you know, Brand and whatnot and be 200 health. Point being is that it is significantly higher for Patchwork because Patchwork has no armor and a ton of health, right? Regardless, minion tier, we've already gone through this. The buddy system is completely revamped, or buddy system, the armor system is completely revamped. You can go through the entire table here. All of these units, all of these heroes, I should say. I'll just scroll slowly through it in case you want to look up one specifically. 0 on Patchwork. What their tavern tier for their buddy and their armor values are all changed. Remember that base health went to 30 instead of 40. So everybody has basically 10 armor to adjust for that. It does allow certain heroes, a couple of them have gone below 10, so they have less than 40 effective health. There, Millhouse. There are a couple asterisks on here, we'll get to that in a second, where something I'm super optimistic about Blizzard has decided they're going to do some level of change with the armor values for certain heroes in high MMR lobbies. Now, I never thought that they would do this. What is high MMR? No idea. They don't explicitly say, so how could I know? I thought they would never do this. That it's convoluted. It creates an arbitrary threshold where rules change on you in the middle of the ladder. Question mark, but it does create a bunch of questions. They're good questions, like you're asking. Is it 8K? Is it 6K? Is it 4K? Like, what are we considering high MMR, right? Where is the threshold? If I'm at right on that threshold, is one of my games going to be low MMR because I place with people below me, and the next game's high MMR and the armor values change? But at the end of the day, it doesn't really change your decision making, right? All it does is change your choice of your hero at the beginning of the game. And you're going to make a decision based upon the armor that the game shows you. It's not like that hidden rule is going to really affect you going past that point. It's just going to be some games you're going to see 8 armor Ysera, and then some games you're going to see 10 armor Ysera. That's going to be the difference, right? We already had that armor range in the previous patch. The number changing ever so slightly. Like Daryl's going to have 15 armor. Where was Dancing Daryl on this list? Dancing Daryl has 18 armor or 15 armor, depending on your MMR range. Like, it's not something, it was very much like that when we talked about the Shutterwalk rule. The Shutterwalk's not in beast lobbies. It's an unintuitive thing for a new player because you'd be like, oh, I didn't even know that rule existed. It's never been somewhere in patch notes that I've read because I started playing after that point, or I missed that one note at one point. And now forever, Shutterwalk isn't in beast lobbies. How should I have known that? It doesn't really matter, right? Because the fact that it's not in a beast lobby doesn't really change your decisions. You're just not choosing Shutterwalk and you're never offered it, right? Just like you didn't get offered Gallywix this game, you didn't get offered Patchwork this game, you didn't get offered Shutterwalk. Yes, there's a slight difference that maybe you'd want to pick a hero that gets a little bit better or worse because Shutterwalk can or cannot be in the game. But we're going way out there in terms of strategy for a children's card game, you know? Regardless, it was only a 2-hour patch review. Not that bad. There is a 1 bug fix that's worth noting. Horse no longer spawns past 7 minions on the board. All right, let's go play video games. It's time to go. Time to play the game.